Hi, I'm Jamie Smart, and welcome to the second video in this four-part series of the Thriving Coach's Blueprint. And in this video, we're going to smash some of the big myths that coaches often struggle with, including the whole visibility thing and the niching myth. And I'm also going to show you how to talk to absolutely anyone about what you do in a way that's engaging and feels great, because I know a lot of coaches struggle with that. By the way, thanks for all the comments and questions on the first video, and if you haven't already seen the first video, I really encourage you to go back and check it out right now. And here's why. When you do, you're going to get one of the most important distinctions there is that separates the most successful coaches and transformation professionals from everybody else. It's the difference between tactics and understanding. And here's why it's so important. It stops you wasting your time on tactics that don't fit who you are, and it lets you focus your time and energy really wisely so you start seeing the biggest results and making progress. And once you see this distinction, you'll also realize why you can become a much more successful coach from the comfort of your own home, just by watching the right videos and listening to audio recordings and that sort of thing. You're also going to get the overall structure of the Thriving Coach's Blueprint, the 3 essential transformations you have to go through to become a thriving coach: grounding, impact, and livelihood. So you can get a clear idea of the different steps in your journey. And if you've watched that video already, then you'll already know that most of the things coaches believe are a livelihood issue, things like visibility and enrolling clients, they actually turn out to get resolved once you get the grounding and impact side of things happen. So speaking to you as a coach, this is the place to be to learn how to get clients, make a big difference, and make your living as a coach, a therapist, a trainer, or a transformation professional in a practical, sustainable, and authentic way that really fits with who you are. And in this video, we're going to be covering a couple of things, and this is really important because I'm going to explain why you don't need to find a niche, which lots of coaches get stressed out about. So first, we're going to look at the importance of being able to recognize a prospective client. And then how do you talk to them about what you do in a way that's engaging and has the potential for them to sign up with you and as a client? And I know that both of these things are things that have a lot of coaches feeling uncomfortable. So I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that feels great. You know, I remember when I first started out, and I was so excited about coaching and the difference you can make to people. I just knew that if people could experience the kind of things I'd experienced, their lives would be better. However, I didn't know how to find clients, and it was weird because on the one hand, I felt like what I knew could benefit everyone on the entire planet. But on the other hand, when people asked me what I did, I seemed to get uncomfortable and go vague, or I'd try to teach them everything I knew in 5 minutes and they'd kind of back away slowly. So I was feeling stuck, and I didn't like it. You see, secretly, I had this fear that maybe I couldn't do it, or that it was just too hard, or that maybe I wasn't good enough. But I knew one thing for sure. I was really passionate about making a difference to people, and I wanted to be free to make a living doing something I really love. I wanted to have a thriving practice. So I started really digging in and figuring it out. And here are some of the secrets I discovered. You see, conventional wisdom will tell you that you need to raise your visibility, that you need to get out there and raise your profile. But for a lot of coaches, that's not actually helpful advice. What you actually need is for prospective clients to be visible to you. Now, here's an example of what I mean. When my #1 best-selling book, Clarity, came out, I started getting interviewed live on Sky TV as a coach and a state of mind expert. And these interviews, they get seen by 5.5 million people. So that's massive visibility, right? But here's the thing. When I'm on national television being watched by 5.5 million people, none of those people are visible to me. And here's why this is so important. Speaking to you as a coach, every client you enroll is going to be someone you've had a conversation with. And before you can have a conversation with them, you need them to be visible to you. So contrast that with this example. One of my clients, a very successful therapist and coach called Kathy Simmons, was running a monthly meetup group of coaches and therapists, so people like you and me. And she invited me to do a talk for them. So I showed up, and there were about maybe 40 coaches and therapists there, all who wanted to learn how to have a bigger impact and how to grow their practices. And during my talk, I did a couple of coaching demos with members of the audience at the front of the room. And people were really, really blown away because I love doing this stuff. And it's so cool to see someone transforming right in front of you. And you hear them gasp as they have a big insight, and you see the gratitude shining in their eyes. It's so amazing. And here's the thing. Yes, I was visible to those 40 people, but unlike the TV interview, they were also visible to me. And once someone's visible to you, then you can get into a conversation with them. And I got into conversation with a number of the people who were there that night, and 6 of them ended up signing up with me as clients. So I want you to imagine that for a second. You go, you talk to a group of people, and then 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 of them come and enroll with you as a client. It's amazing. So it's really key to understand this simple truth about visibility. Okay, so let's tackle another myth. Conventional wisdom will tell you that you need to find a niche. But here's why that turns out to be terrible advice for most coaches. See, if you ask most coaches, they tie themselves in knots trying to answer the question, what's my niche? But that question raises a contradiction. You see, as coaches and transformation professionals, we love authenticity and freedom. The idea of boxing yourself into a specific niche or identity, it doesn't feel right, does it? And if you're early in your coaching career, then you intuitively get that it often doesn't make sense to tie yourself to one specific niche. Plus, when you're trying to figure out your niche, you're accidentally making it all about you. But it's not about you. It's about your client. So here's a new way of thinking about it. Imagine that you've inherited a large and beautiful mansion with a multi-million-dollar trust fund dedicated to paying all the running costs. There's only one catch. If you want the trust fund to pay the bills, you have to restore the mansion. Now, there are groundskeepers on staff to take care of the exteriors and the gardens, but the inside is your domain. And the rooms are in a shocking state with torn wallpaper and broken chairs. They need cleaning, painting, and decorating. They need furnishing, carpeting, and plenty of tender, loving care to return them to their former glory. So which room do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the lounge or the master bedroom? Do you want to start with the kitchen or the billiard room? Once that one's been taken care of, you can decide which one you want to do next. You don't have to limit yourself to one. You don't have to stay in it forever. You don't need to make the room part of your identity. You just need to decide which one you want to start with. Then, once you've done, you can decide which one you want to do next. Now, it's the same with audiences and clients. You don't need to limit yourself to just one or stay with the same audience forever. You don't need to make the group part of your identity, but it can become very, very useful to choose one you want to start with, a group you'd love to serve. Then, if you decide you want to increase your domain, you can decide which group you want to serve next. Now, every audience is like another room in your mansion. So you can start remedying niche anxiety by taking your attention off of yourself and putting it onto your prospective clients. So I want you to do a quick thought experiment with me. If I could wave a magic wand and it's like 6 months from now and you've got a thriving coaching practice with wonderful clients who you love working with and you make a really big difference to, and every time you look at your bank account, you see your balance going up with new deposits every single week, and your clients are raving to their friends about the incredible difference you're making to them and writing you heartfelt messages saying just how much you've helped them, and you're feeling great about how far you've already managed to come, and you're really loving your work. Who are some of the people that you're loving making a difference to? What are some of the things that you really appreciate about them? What are some of the goals and challenges they bring to you and that you're really enjoying helping them with? What are some of the things they say when they rave about you to their friends, telling them about the difference you've made in their life? Again, the purpose of these questions isn't so you can find your niche. It's so you can start discovering the qualities and characteristics that let you know someone's a good client for you. Once again, people become coaching clients in the course of conversations. Conversations where you connect with them, one human being to another. After all, everyone you have a conversation with is a potential client for you. So far more important than finding a niche is getting clear on how you know when someone could be a good client for you. And you can test that out and refine it for yourself in every single conversation you have. Okay, so now we're going to talk about one of the biggies for a lot of coaches, which is this. You need to be able to talk to a prospective client about what you do. You need to engage them in a conversation. And I know this is a big struggle for lots of coaches, therapists, and transformation professionals. When someone asks, what do you do? Or what is this coaching stuff anyway? They often feel on the spot. Typically, they either get anxious and go blank, or they start babbling and try to condense everything they've spent years learning into a 2-minute pitch. In both cases, they end up coming across as vague and confusing, and they beat themselves up about it. But they're missing a crucial distinction, the difference between explaining what you do and engaging someone in a conversation. Think about it. When someone asks what you do, they're typically looking for an easy way to pigeonhole you so they can file you away in their mental filing cabinet. Now, this is totally natural. They want to make you kind of the same as something they're already familiar with. When you try to explain, you're complying with that request, even though you intuitively recognize it's not going to help them or you. That's why coaches often respond in less than resourceful ways and feel anxious and on the spot. So here's the key distinction to get you out of this. In principle, everyone you meet is a prospective client. So instead of closing the filing cabinet on you, you want them to open their mind to what's possible for them and what you have to offer. Instead of explaining what you do, you want to experiment with engaging them in conversation. And the great thing about this is you can use all your coaching skills to get on the same page with them. And this means asking questions, listening, and getting an understanding of them and their world. It means connecting with them at a heart level. It means sparking curiosity and paving the way for deeper conversations. Speaking to you as a coach, you're likely to relax and feel at ease as you start to ask questions and listen to their responses. You can come up with ways of talking about what you do that are relevant and meaningful to the person you're speaking with. And as you get a deeper felt connection with them, they're likely to like and trust you more. Here's a simple example. Let's say Bob says to you, "So what's this coaching stuff you do? Is it the same as life coaching?" I don't know where Bob's accent is from. So Bob's trying to make what you do the same as something he already has some kind of idea about. In this case, life coaching, but it could be anything. He could say, "Is this the same as psychotherapy or counseling or hypnosis?" Remember, he's just trying to fit you into his mental filing cabinet. And this is the point where most coaches start to stumble. But instead of explaining, you want to engage Bob. So when he goes, "Is this the same as life coaching?" you can reply, "Well, yes and no. What have you heard about life coaching?" So you've gone back with a question. You're finding out more about Bob and his world. You're engaging him in a conversation. So Bob comes back with something like this. "Basically, I've heard that life coaches give people advice about what they should do." So this is great because now you know a bit about what Bob's perspective is. So you might come back with something like this. "Well, people often ask me to tell them what they should do, but my approach works with helping people find their own answers from within themselves. I find that works a lot better for them." Now Bob comes back with, "Finding their own answers from within themselves? How do you do that?" Well, at this point, Bob has moved to curiosity. He's engaged in the conversation. So that's the key. Remember, every coaching client who enrolls with you is going to be someone you've had a conversation with. So instead of trying to explain what you do, engage people in a conversation. And if you want the proof of this, try it out in the next few conversations you have. And it really doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether it's someone at the pub or you're having a meeting with the CEO of a large organization. This stuff works. So, a couple of more things before we finish. A lot of people have been asking me about some of the concerns and fears that naturally come up when you're stepping into new territory like this. The fact that you're even watching this means that you're going through a process of transformation. Now, whether you're considering transitioning to becoming a coach or whether you're already doing this work, you're exploring new territory. And it's normal to have some fears and concerns and questions about that. So like I promised, I'm going to explain why it's completely natural to have these concerns, and I'm going to prove to you how they can start melting away as you keep moving forward. So here's one of the big ones. Sometimes people say, but what if I have doubts about my ability to really make a difference to people or even to get paid for it? The key to overcoming this one is to get a deep embodied understanding of people's innate capacity for health, realization, and transformation. See, when you have this, your certainty impacts other people. They pick up on your certainty, creating a powerful basis for your work. You may have experienced this yourself if you've ever met someone who has that kind of gentle certainty you can actually feel. It's beyond confidence. It's a complete lack of insecurity that comes when you're feeling comfortable in your own skin. You can go into any situation and know what to do, even when you're out of your depth. It's that grounded certainty, knowing you have what you need and know how to take the next step, whatever situation you might be in. And here's the thing. Every human being has that innate capacity, including you, whether you believe it or not. It works the same way for everyone, and you can realize it for yourself. A great example of how you can realize this is Clarity coach Terry Broughton, who moved from being a head teacher to being a coach and a trainer. Now, when we started working with her, Terry had doubts about the impact she could have, but she's experienced a huge transformation in her impact with profound results. She recently ran her first retreat in Sri Lanka, and she's seeing truly transformation results in her coaching clients. She's not afraid to challenge or question her clients because she's completely focused on serving them. She told me, there's something about speaking from your authentic self and making connections with the people around you that really makes the difference. When you have this kind of certainty in your ability to have a transformational impact, your clients can pick up on it. So it creates a kind of virtual circle. In fact, Terry recently took things to a whole new level when she enrolled a client on a long-term coaching package for £20,000. And she said she wouldn't even have believed it was possible for her when she started out. And I really want to underline that because it's true for all of us. I would never have dreamed that I'd, be on TV or that I'd have a Sunday Times bestseller or that I'd be working with world-class athletes or that I'd see pictures on Instagram and Facebook of celebrities reading my books. I didn't even know I'd write a book. See, I was in the same position you are. One day I realized that I wanted to do this work, so I started moving in a direction, but I had no idea what life had in store for me. And that's exciting because you're in the same place. You don't even know what life has in store for you. You just need to keep taking the next step. Another concern people have is they say, but I don't know where to find clients who can pay, or I live somewhere remote where there aren't enough people, or coaching isn't even part of the culture here. I've got great news for you. The internet has made the world into your village. Facebook, Skype, and your smartphone mean that you can reach people anywhere on the planet to work with them. A great example of this is Ankush Jain. When we first started working with Ankush, he was working full-time for a Global 500 company. Today, Ankush is a successful clarity coach and a leader in the coaching community. He's spoken at conferences in the USA and Europe. He's passionate about helping people have great relationships, so he created a show called The Relationship Podcast and now works with clients from all around the world, helping them achieve amazing results. Once again, the internet has made the world into your village, so you don't need to be limited by local factors. And one last concern many coaches have is fear of visibility or criticism or failure or even rejection. But I've got great news for you. As strange as it may seem, that fear is just a simple misunderstanding of how your mind works. Remember how I mentioned your innate capacity for insight and realization? Well, as you get a deeper understanding of the material I'm sharing with you, you're going to see those fears start melting away. And here's a great example of this. One of my clients, Donna Churchman, had been terrified of public speaking for as long as she could remember. She was very accomplished. Donna's an award-winning designer. But she wasn't able to express herself well in large groups. She felt extreme anxiety, and she worried about saying the wrong thing or looking stupid. And I didn't know any of this when Donna came on one of my coach training programs. But during one of the sessions, she had like an earth-shaking insight. And when I asked her what had happened, she told me it's as though a lifetime of limiting beliefs and negative ideas about myself have just fallen away. She'd had a sudden realization and seen through the illusion of her extreme worry and anxiety. And on that same day, Donna stood up and talked to the 40-person coach training group about what she'd seen. Then a few weeks later, she told her story in front of a meetup group of 70 people. A few months after that, she did an online masterclass called Speak to 100 People Like You're Speaking to One Person. And in the process, Donna realized that she's passionate about supporting people in the creative industry. Like I said, she's trained as a designer. So now she works coaching creative professionals. In fact, not so long ago, Donna flew to Berlin and gave a presentation to 350 of the world's leading creatives at the Promax BDA conference. And here's the thing, it took courage. It would have taken me courage. I sometimes get a bit jittery before speaking to a big audience, but Donna was surprised to discover how easy and enjoyable she found it once she realized she could express herself free from worry, anxiety, and fear. So once again, I know fear of criticism and failure may have seemed like a big deal, but I promise you, you have the capacity to see through that stuff and just keep taking the next step. So here's what's coming up in the next couple of videos. In video 3, I'm going to be showing you the #1 key to enrolling clients in a way that fits perfectly with who you really are. And this is really important because, like I said before, coaching and change work are conversational professions. Conversations are the delivery system for the impact that people are going to pay you for. So it's essential you learn the keys to making the conversations you have with prospective clients just as enjoyable and impactful as the conversations you have with the people who are already signed up and working with you. And this includes being able to talk about money, fees, and packages without getting weird or uncomfortable or sketchy. I know a lot of coaches and therapists struggle with the whole charging bit, but I'm going to show you how to do that in a way that feels great to you and your client. And here's the thing, if you're one of the many coaches who struggle with charging and money, and maybe don't even like the thought of talking about money, I want to reassure you. I've worked with hundreds of coaches who have been exactly where you are, and I promise you that once you understand how to do that and talk about that stuff in a way that feels great for you and your client, your whole world is going to change. So you have every reason to be hopeful, because that's a fundamental piece of the Thriving Coach's Blueprint. So watch out for video 3, which is coming soon. And to wrap up, I've got 2 questions for you. #1, if I was having a conversation with someone who's a great client for you, this person's perfect for you, how would I know? What would I see and hear and feel that would let me know this is one of the people you'd love to work with, one of the people who'd be a great fit for you? How would I know? Let me know in the comments below. #2, how comfortable are you with having connected conversations with people where you engage them, Put them at their ease and find out what's really important to them, because that really is the key to signing them up as a client. Like I've said before, coaching and therapy are conversation businesses. So how comfortable are you about having these kind of conversations with people? Again, let me know in the comments below. And I'm really looking forward to reading your comments and any questions you've got and jumping in and responding to any of those questions you have. So let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you liked this video and you found it useful, I would love it if you click the button and if you share it with your friends. Thanks a lot, and stay tuned for the next video.